something was off. Arya Vance, CEO of the formidable Vance Corporation, felt a familiar tension coiling in her gut as she navigated the city traffic. It wasn't just the pressure of the upcoming board meeting or the endless stream of emails demanding her attention. It was her mother's voice, still echoing in her head from their morning phone call. "Arya, darling, I'm not trying to nag, but you're not getting any younger. It's time to think about settling down. The shareholders, they keep whispering. The president of the corporation is an aging single woman. It's just not a good look." The words, meant to sound like loving concern, felt like tiny, sharp stones being hurled at her. On top of it all, the dull ache behind her eyes had returned, a persistent, phantom pain that had been her unwelcome companion for 7 years, ever since the accident. The one that had stolen a whole year of her life from her memory. "Are you sure I didn't forget anything important 7 years ago?" she had asked her mother, a strange, unplaceable feeling of loss creeping over her. Her mother's response had been swift, almost panicked. "It's nothing serious. Just some aftereffects from the surgery." Okay, I'm hanging up now, stop talking about it." The abruptness of it all only deepened the mystery that shrouded her past. Lost in thought, she barely registered the change in the car's handling until it was almost too late. The brake pedal felt soft, spongy, sinking to the floor with an alarming lack of resistance. Panic, cold and sharp, seized her. The car in front of her stopped suddenly. Arya slammed her foot down on the useless pedal, her heart leaping into her throat. She yanked the wheel, swerving to avoid a major collision, but the momentum was too great. Her luxury sedan lurched, a sickening screech of metal on metal as her bumper scraped against the side of a parked car, before finally rolling to a stop. Her hands trembled on the steering wheel, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Just as she was about to unbuckle her seatbelt, a small figure darted into the street. A little boy. He couldn't have been more than 7 years old. He stumbled, his eyes wide, and fell right in the path of her still drifting car. The gentle tap was barely a collision, more of a nudge, but the boy collapsed onto the pavement with a theatrical flair that would have made a Shakespearean actor proud. Hey, watch out!" Arya yelled, her voice hoarse with terror. She threw the car in park and scrambled out, her mind a maelstrom of fear and self-recrimination. "Oh my God, are you okay?" she cried, rushing to the boy's side. He lay on the ground, his eyes squeezed shut, a tiny whimper escaping his lips. Before she could even check for injuries, he opened his eyes, looked directly at her, and threw his arms around her legs, clinging to her with surprising strength. "Mommy," he cried out, his voice clear and bright. "Mommy, you finally came for me." Arya froze, completely bewildered. At that moment, a man came running towards them, his handsome face a mask of concern. He was tall, dressed in a simple but well-fitting suit, and he moved with an easy grace. "Leo, are you all right?" he asked, kneeling beside his son. The boy, Leo, didn't let go of Arya's leg. "Dad, look. It's Mommy. I found her." The man looked from his son to Arya, a mixture of confusion and apology in his warm, intelligent eyes. "I am so sorry," he said, his voice a calm, reassuring baritone. "My brakes failed," Arya explained, still trying to process the word Mommy. "Are you okay, little guy?" she asked the boy, her voice gentle. Leo looked up at her, his expression one of pure, unadulterated adoration. "I'm fine, Mommy. I'm naturally strong. This little accident can't hurt me." The man sighed, a small smile playing on his lips despite the situation. "I'm Liam Sterling, and this is my very dramatic son, Leo. Please, don't worry about the damages. The important thing is that no one is hurt." "No, of course not, I'll definitely compensate," Arya insisted, fumbling for her purse. "Here's my card. Call me anytime if you need anything at all." Liam took the card, his fingers brushing against hers for a fleeting second. "Are you all right?" he asked, his gaze searching her face. "You look pale." Before she could answer, Leo piped up again, his voice full of mischief. "Auntie," he said, looking Arya dead in the eye, "want to get married? We've gotta buy one, get one free deal." "Leo," Liam said, his cheeks flushing slightly. "Sorry, the kid is just being silly." "I'm not being silly," Leo insisted, tugging on Arya's hand. "Dad, you've fallen in love. Mommy, please, take care of my dad. Look how handsome he is, don't miss this chance." "Shinlele, can you please shut up?" Liam muttered, though the corner of his mouth twitched in amusement. Arya found herself staring at him. He was handsome. More than handsome. And his kindness in the face of a potential accident was disarming. An idea, wild and reckless, began to form in her mind. An idea born of desperation and the incessant pressure from her family. She thought of her uncle and cousin, circling her position at the company like vultures. She thought of her mother's words. "You're not young anymore. The board keeps saying the CEO is a spinster. She looked at Liam, then at the clever, bright-eyed boy still clinging to her. It'll shut those people up for good, she thought. Taking a deep breath, she made a decision that would change the course of her entire life. She looked at Liam Sterling and said, "Mr. Sterling, let's give it a try." Liam stared at her, his expression a perfect blank slate of astonishment. Give what a try?" he asked, clearly suspecting he had misheard her. Arya took a breath, steeling her resolve. The plan was insane, but the alternative, facing her predatory uncle and cousin at the upcoming family banquet without some kind of shield, was worse. "A marriage," she said, her voice more confident than she felt. "A trial marriage. A partnership." She saw the flicker of understanding, followed by sheer disbelief, in his eyes. She pressed on, laying out her reasoning with the same clinical precision she used in the boardroom. "My family, my shareholders, they believe a single woman can't effectively run a corporation. They see me as temporary. They are actively trying to undermine me. A husband, even a temporary one, would solidify my position. It would silence them." She looked at him, a silent plea in her gaze. "You seem like a kind, stable person. And your son?" She glanced down at Leo, who was watching them with intense, intelligent eyes, "is delightful." Liam was silent for a long moment, processing the most bizarre business proposal he had ever received. "You really don't mind that I have a 7-year-old son?" he finally asked, his voice laced with incredulity. "No worries," Arya said, a genuine smile touching her lips for the first time. "I actually like him. Plus," she added, deciding honesty was the best policy, "I'm not particularly interested in having kids myself. Getting a clever, well-behaved son for free? I'm thrilled about it." Leo beamed. "See, Dad? She's perfect." Liam still looked stunned, but a thoughtful expression was beginning to replace the shock. "You're not from here, are you?" Arya observed, noting his slight accent. "We're from the capital," he confirmed. "We're just here for a while." "Mom, we don't have a home here," Leo interjected sadly. "We're homeless. We have no place to live." Liam shot his son a look, but Arya laughed. "No worries. You can stay at my place." An idea was solidifying in her mind. A fake husband. A fake backstory. She would tell her family he was a powerful, wealthy man from the capital. It was perfect. "Anyway," she said, starting to build the narrative, "I'm not looking to marry just anyone rich. I just want someone who takes care of their family." "But my dad is very," Leo started to say, but Liam gently cut him off. "I'm not rich," Liam said smoothly, playing along, "but I do have one virtue. I'm very family-oriented." Arya felt a surge of gratitude. He understood. He was willing to play the part. "I have to get to the office," she said, pulling out her phone. "My assistant will come pick you up soon. Just follow him to my place." "Okay," Liam agreed, a hint of adventure in his eyes. "See you tonight." "Bye, Mommy," Leo chirped, waving enthusiastically. "Bye, honey," Arya replied, the word feeling surprisingly natural on her lips. As she walked away, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had seen them before. The more she looked at them, the more familiar they seemed, like figures from a dream. She couldn't quite recall. Back in his temporary hotel room, Liam was on the phone. "Hello? Old dang? Not much is going on lately, so I won't be returning to the capital just yet." "Oh, right. Help me check someone out." "Arya Vance, CEO of the Vance Corporation. I suspect she's the one I've been looking for 8 years." Arya had barely stepped through the door of her family's mansion when her mother descended upon her. "Arya is back. Perfect timing. Your Uncle Richard and your cousin Derek are here, too. Come over and greet them." "Mom, I have work to do. I can't entertain you right now," Arya said, her voice tight with frustration. She tried to bypass them, but her uncle, a portly man with a perpetually smug expression, blocked her path. "Arya Vance," he sneered. "How dare you ignore your elders? Feeling restless running your little company, so you come back to act up with us? So what if I do?" Arya retorted, her patience wearing thin. Derek, her cousin, a weaselly young man who rode on his father's coattails, stepped forward. "In broad daylight, for all to see, you disrespect your family, Arya." He didn't get to finish the sentence. Arya's hand flew out, a sharp, stinging slap that echoed in the grand foyer. "Arya, why are you hitting him?" her mother cried out, rushing forward. "He knows what he did." Arya snapped, her eyes blazing. "Stop it," her mother pleaded. "Where is your second uncle? He came with Derek to take over the deal you were negotiating. We're all family, let's just sit down and talk." "Humph," Richard scoffed. "Arya, if you harm the Vance lineage, can you afford to pay for it? Hurry up. Kneel and apologize to Derek. Also, that new business at the company. Hand it over to him." Maybe then we'll reluctantly forgive you. Arya laughed, a cold, humorless sound. Don't think for a second I don't know what you two are up to. I call you uncle out of respect for my father, so you should have some self-awareness. Right now, I am the one in charge of the Vance family. I've turned a blind eye to all the little tricks you've been pulling in the company, the funds you've siphoned, the deals you've sabotaged. But if you dare to cross the line, she said, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper, I am not to be trifled with. Derek? My car was tampered with today. I'm going to do a thorough investigation. You had better pray this has nothing to do with you. Derek's face went pale. Richard stepped in front of his son protectively. What? Are you threatening me, girl? You need to understand, Derek is the only male heir in this generation of the Vance family. The future of our family depends on him. And look at you. Just a little girl, playing at business. Just marry some guy and get out of the way. You're an aging leftover woman. If you don't marry soon, you'll hit menopause. Do you really think the old men on the board would hand this corporation over to a woman who can't even manage to find a family? How do you know I haven't? Arya shot back, the words flying out of her mouth before she could stop them. A stunned silence fell over the room. What? Richard stammered. With my skills, I can run this corporation all by myself, Arya declared, her confidence surging. Besides, I already have a husband. A man who is a perfect match for me. In fact, he's the richest man in the capital. Later that evening, in the quiet of her penthouse apartment, Arya explained the situation to Liam. That's the situation, she finished, feeling a little foolish. So they don't find out you're, well, not the richest man in the capital. I've made you into a billionaire. Your last name is Sterling, which helps. Please, just do your best at the family gathering. I need you to be convincing. Leo, who had been listening intently from the couch, spoke up. Silly mommy. My dad is actually the richest man in the capital. Why did you have to make up a name for him? What? Arya stared at the little boy. Huh? Liam said, quickly. Recovering. Ignore him. Kids talk too much. Didn't you say you were going to show us the clothes for the banquet? Let's go. He steered her away from the topic, but Leo's words lingered in her mind. They went to a private, high-end design studio. Owned by a friend of Arya's. This studio is owned by my friend, Wilson, she explained. He's a world-famous designer. He's worked in the capital before. We only serve people in our exclusive circle. Others can't even get a meeting. As if on cue, Wilson himself emerged. From the back. When he saw Leo, his eyes widened in shock. Uncle Wilson. Leo cried out happily. Mr. Sterling, Wilson stammered, bowing his head slightly to Liam. Oh, you know him? Arya asked, surprised. Oh, no, I don't, Liam said quickly. I was just following your greeting. He shot Wilson a look that could freeze fire. Arya was distracted by the arrival of her scheming uncle and cousin. Arya is here. Derek exclaimed. And who are these two? This is my husband and son, Arya said coolly. Wilson, could you help measure their sizes? No need to measure, Liam said, but Wilson, catching his eye, insisted. While they were being measured, a man from Arya's past appeared. Arya. Julian Croft. You're back in the country. I just returned today, he said, his eyes lingering on her. I came to pick up a cheap house for my mother. I was just about to message you. It's been a while, let's have a hug. He moved to embrace her, but Liam smoothly stepped between them. Long time no see, he said, his voice polite but firm. Julian's eyes narrowed as he took in Liam and Leo. Who's the big one and who's the little one? Uncle, I'm Mommy's favorite person, you know. Leo announced proudly. Mommy? Julian's face clouded over. Oh, this is my husband and my son, Arya explained. How is that possible? I've only been gone for 3 years. I'm 3 years old. Leo said with a grin. Don't listen to him, Arya corrected quickly. Leo is 7 this year. And, he's not my own child. She felt a pang of something she couldn't name as she said the words. As Liam went to get the car, Julian cornered Arya. Arya, a divorced guy with a kid? He's second-hand goods. He then turned on Liam as he returned. Sorry, what did you just say? Liam asked, his voice dangerously low. I said a divorced guy with a kid shouldn't be troubling Arya, Julian sneered. After all, being pure in mind and body is a man's best dowry. The only reason you're clinging to her is for her money, right? Tell me your price. I can give you whatever you want. Just leave her. Liam just smiled. Excuse me, but I really don't need money. Stop pretending. You don't even have a car, you came here using Arya's money. You're not good enough for her. Julian lunged forward and shoved Liam. This uncle, Leo said, his voice full of scorn. Why did you hit my dad? Was it just jealousy? Julian Croft, how could you do this? Arya cried, rushing to Liam's side. I'm fine, Liam said, but he put on a pained expression. But I come from a poor background. Mr. Croft thinks I'm not good enough for you, and that's fair. It's just. He likes you too, honey. Otherwise, why would he be so eager for me to divorce you? You're such a schemer, Arya said, turning on Julian. I turned you down 3 years ago, Julian. We're just friends. I'm married now. You should be happy for me. No matter what, it's wrong to get physical. She took Liam's arm. Let's go. As they left, Julian stared after them, his face a mask of fury. The family banquet was held in a grand, opulent hall, dripping with chandeliers and whispered insults. Arya's mother, Eleanor, pulled her aside, her face a mixture of relief and suspicion. Wow, he's so handsome, she said, eyeing Liam. And the boy is not bad either, no stage fright in these big events. You're eating so well, I was worried for nothing, setting you up with all those dates. Mom, don't say that in front of him, Arya hissed. He's sensitive, he might cry. Alright, I'll go. I'll get the full explanation after the party, Eleanor said, before bustling off. Arya turned to Liam. My relatives are beasts. They aren't worth getting close to. Just stick with me. You really don't want me to go with you to greet them? He asked. No need, she said firmly. Those people aren't worth knowing. Taking you there would just sully your eyes. Plus, they would trouble you over my made-up identity. Actually, Liam started to say, then stopped. Actually, it's nothing, he finished. I'll wait for you here patiently. Honey, he added, a teasing glint in his eye. Stop saying that, she said, blushing, before heading into the fray. While Arya was dealing with her relatives, Derek cornered Leo, who was showing off a new toy robot. This is a limited edition robot my uncle brought me from abroad, Derek boasted. There's only one in the world. Sure, there's only one, Leo said calmly. But your robot is a fake. You're lying. I'm not, Leo said. Because the real one is at my place. While Derek was distracted, a waiter approached him. Did you serve the spiked drink? Derek whispered. The waiter nodded. Good. Get that thug we hired to that room. Tonight, I want Arya Vance to be completely ruined. She won't dare stay at the Vance Corporation after this. Unaware of the plot, Arya felt a wave of dizziness wash over her after taking a sip of champagne. Excusing herself, she headed towards a quiet room to rest. A moment later, a hulking, brutish man slipped into the room behind her. Miss President, he slurred, a lecherous grin on his face. We drugged you, now you're totally helpless. Let me take care of you, sweetie. He lunged for her, but before he could touch her, the door burst open. It was Liam. And behind him, her uncle and cousin, along with several reporters they had invited, ready to catch her in a compromising position. What's going on here? Derek yelled, feigning shock. Arya. You just had a shotgun wedding with a stranger, and now, at your own family feast, you're messing around with other men? This is a disgrace. Everyone, bear witness today, her uncle shouted to the reporters. I am going to kick this shameless person out of the Vance family. The cameras flashed, but the story they captured was not the one they expected. Liam moved with a speed and precision that was startling. He dispatched the thug with a single, efficient blow. My wife is here, so of course I'm here too, he said calmly, positioning himself protectively in front of Arya. Who else could it be? He turned to the stunned thug. This uncle is so shameless, Leo said, suddenly appearing at his father's side. He's already confessed everything. You're the one who hurt Mommy. The police are on their way. You called the police? Derek stammered, his plan crumbling around him. The fallout from the disastrous family banquet was swift and brutal. The story that her uncle and cousin had tried to plant, that of the promiscuous CEO, was completely eclipsed by the one that emerged, the story of their own failed, malicious setup. But that didn't stop them from trying a new angle of attack. This Arya, her uncle fumed to anyone who would listen. She has a shotgun wedding to a mysterious man with a child, and then calls the boy Mommy's favorite. I call it a mess. She must have gotten pregnant before marriage and had the baby. Secretly. Is this how the head of the Vance family should act? It's disgraceful. The rumors began to swirl, undermining Arya's authority. You're full of crap. Leo announced boldly to a group of gossiping relatives. I'm not Mommy's biological kid. I came as a buy-one-get-one free deal with my daddy. This new revelation only added fuel to the fire. What? So you're marrying a divorced man? Arya's mother, Eleanor, confronted her, horrified. Let me tell you, the Vance Corporation isn't solely yours. It belongs to us, too. Bringing this lowlife with you? You want to snatch more shares, don't you? Don't even think about it. Keep talking, and I will destroy you today, Liam said. His voice a low, dangerous growl as he stepped in front of Eleanor. The threat was so potent, so full of quiet authority, that even she was momentarily silenced. Later, when they were alone, Arya looked at Liam, a new worry dawning. "Wait, you didn't tell your mom I have a kid, did you?" "No," he admitted. "I didn't. My mom's temper? I was planning to tell her after the family dinner, but I didn't get the chance yet." "Don't worry," Arya said, though she felt far from confident. "I've got a plan." "What's the plan?" "The best plan is to run away," Leo piped in. Arya couldn't help but smile. Later that night, Liam finally decided to tell her the truth. "Actually," he began, his expression serious, "there's something I need to tell you. Leo isn't my biological child." He proceeded to tell her the story. How he had been in the city 7 years ago, trying to escape the pressure of his own family. How, on a cold, rainy night, he had heard a faint cry coming from an alleyway. He had found a newborn baby, abandoned on top of a trash can, wrapped in a thin blanket. "I don't know why," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "but back then, I felt this strange, powerful connection to the kid. I even felt sorry for them. So, instead of sending them to an orphanage, I decided to take them home myself." "So? Leo is adopted?" Arya asked, her heart aching for the little boy who had so quickly stolen her affection. "That's right," Liam confirmed. "But I've always treated him as my own. He's a very mature kid, and no matter what, I will never give up on him. If your family minds, I won't insist." He looked at her, his gaze vulnerable. "Arya, will you divorce me?" Arya looked at him, at this kind, honorable man who had taken in an abandoned child and loved him as his own. She thought of his unwavering support, his quiet strength. "Hey," she said softly. "Who gets divorced right after getting married? Besides," she added, a teasing light in her eyes, "I need to take responsibility for last night. Don't overthink it. Right now, I'm the one in charge here at Vance Corporation. No one can force you." "Honey," Liam whispered, his voice full of a raw emotion that made her heart skip a beat. "I really love you." "Mommy, I love you too," Leo cried, running to join their hug. But as they embraced, a new piece of the puzzle clicked into place in Arya's mind. Leo's age. 7 years. The same amount of time she had been suffering from memory loss. The same amount of time since her mysterious surgery. A chill ran down her spine. The next day, Leo came to her, a piece of paper clutched in his hand. "Mommy," he said, his face unusually serious. "I saw your checkup report from the hospital. It says you had a C-section 7 years ago. So, Mommy, where is that child?" The question hung in the air, sharp and heavy as a shard of glass. "Leo? How could Mommy have a kid?" Arya started to say, the denial automatic, reflexive. But the boy was insistent. "The report says you had a child by C-section," he repeated, his young face a mask of confusion and concern. "So, Mommy, where is that child?" The world seemed to tilt on its axis. Her scar, the one her mother had always dismissed as being from a minor surgery. The lost year. The persistent headaches. It all coalesced into a single, terrifying possibility. At that moment, as if summoned by the chaos, Derek's hired thugs appeared, their faces grim. They had been sent to take care of Arya once and for all. "It's her. Get her," one of them shouted. "Leo, run!" Arya screamed, shoving the little boy behind her. But Leo stood his ground. "Who dares touch my mommy?" he yelled, his small body trembling with a fierce, protective rage. One of the thugs laughed, a cruel, ugly sound. "You little brat. What strength do you have?" He lunged, not at Arya, but at the boy. There was a flash of metal, a choked cry from Leo, and a sudden, sickening bloom of red on his small shirt. "Mommy," he whispered, his eyes wide with shock, before collapsing into her arms. The world dissolved into a cacophony of sirens and shouting. In the sterile, white hallway of the hospital, Arya paced like a caged animal, Leo's blood still on her hands. The doctor's words echoed in her ears. "The injured is bleeding heavily. We need someone with blood type B." "Me," a voice said from behind her. It was Julian Croft. He had heard about the attack and rushed to the hospital. "I'm blood type B. I'll save the kid." The doctors whisked him away. Arya's mother, Eleanor, arrived, her face a pale mask of terror. "It's all my fault," Arya sobbed, collapsing into her mother's arms. "If it wasn't for me, those people were after me. Leo took the hit for me. What am I going to do, Mom? How can I explain this to Liam?" A few minutes later, Julian returned. His expression grim. "What's happening?" Arya asked frantically. "They wouldn't let me donate," he said, looking confused. "After they checked my blood sample and asked my name, they just said no." "What? Do you have some kind of illness?" Eleanor asked. "No," Julian said, shaking his head. They said? They said Leo had brought in a hair sample of mine for testing here before. The results just came out today. He paused, his eyes locking with Aria's. The results show that I, and Leo, have a 99.99% genetic match. The words dropped into the sterile silence of the hospital corridor like a bomb. What? Eleanor gasped. So, you're Lele's biological father? The statement, so full of certainty, so backed by scientific fact, should have made sense. But it didn't. It felt profoundly, fundamentally wrong to Aria. It was a puzzle piece that simply wouldn't fit, no matter how hard she tried to force it. How could this be possible, she murmured, her mind reeling. And then, as if the universe was determined to complete its cruel joke, the doctor returned with news. The good news was that Julian's blood was, in fact, compatible, and the transfusion was successful. Leo was out of immediate danger. The bad news was delivered in a sealed envelope, addressed to her. It was the full report from her physical 7 years ago. The one she had never been allowed to see. Her hands trembled as she opened it. And there it was, in black and white. Patient underwent an emergency cesarean section following a single-vehicle car accident. Live male infant delivered. She looked up at her mother, her eyes wide with a dawning, horrifying understanding. Mom, she said, her voice a hollow whisper. Tell me honestly. Did I forget something important 7 years ago? Nothing important, her mother insisted, her face pale. I've remembered everything, Aria said, her voice gaining a steely edge. My scar, it's not from a minor surgery, is it? It's from a C-section. 7 years ago. I had a child. What happened to the child, Mom? Where is my son? And who is his father? Cornered, her lies crumbling around her, Eleanor finally broke down. I don't know who the father was, she sobbed. You disappeared for a year, you came back pregnant and traumatized after the accident, with no memory of what had happened. You are the heir of the Vance Corporation. A woman, trying to lead in a man's world. I couldn't let this child ruin you. I did it for your own good. What did you do? Aria demanded. I sent the child away, Eleanor confessed, the words tumbling out between sobs. I gave the family nanny a large sum of money and told her to take the child far away, to ensure he had a good life, but to never, ever let him be traced back to us. But I never expected, that nanny, she took the money and abandoned the child in an alleyway. I've regretted it all these years. I've been searching for that child, but the nanny vanished without a trace. A rainy night. 7 years ago. An abandoned baby. The pieces of the puzzle began to slam into place, forming a picture that was both impossible and undeniable. As if on cue, Liam walked down the hallway towards them. The police have Derek and his father in custody, he began, then stopped, taking in the scene. What's wrong? Aria looked at him, at the man who had found a baby in an alley on a rainy night 7 years ago, the same night her own child had been abandoned. She looked at Julian, the man who supposedly shared a 99.99% genetic match with Leo, a result that made no sense. And then, the trauma, the stress, the shock of it all, finally broke through the dam of her amnesia. A flood of images, sharp and vivid, overwhelmed her. A dimly lit bar. The clinking of glasses. The scent of rain on a leather jacket. A handsome, smiling face, a face she hadn't seen in 8 years, but now recognized with a jolt that shook her to her very soul. It was Liam's face. Wait for me, a voice from her memory whispered. I'll make it right for you. She swayed on her feet, the world dissolving into a dizzying vortex of past and present. Shinsayan, she whispered, using the name she hadn't known she knew. I remember everything now. Liam rushed to her side, catching her as her knees buckled. Arya, what is it? 8 years ago, she said, her voice trembling as the memories cascaded through her mind. The woman who was with you, the woman you met in that bar, it was me. The story spilled out of her, a torrent of recovered pain and revelation. The one night they had spent together, a night of unexpected connection that she had completely forgotten. Discovering she was pregnant. The car accident on her way to the hospital, which had triggered both the early birth and her amnesia. And her mother's terrible, misguided decision to send the baby away. So the child I found 7 years ago. Liam breathed, his own eyes wide with a new, staggering understanding. Is ours, Arya finished for him. Leo is our son. They stood there, in the middle of the hospital corridor, the truth finally, impossibly, laid bare between them. The fake DNA report from Julian, a desperate last-ditch effort to claim her, now seemed like a pathetic, transparent lie. Their son? The clever, bright-eyed boy who had called her mommy at first sight, had been the first to sense the truth, the first to recognize the invisible thread that had bound them together all along. When Leo was awake and stable, they went into his room together. I'm so sorry, Leo, Arya cried, stroking his hair. I'm so sorry, how could I ever forget you? I would never blame Mommy, Leo whispered, his voice weak but his eyes bright. Lele loves Mommy and understands her. The past was a landscape of pain and secrets, but in that moment, as she held her son's hand, with the father of her child by her side, Arya knew that the future was theirs to write. The antagonists were dealt with. Wan Lang and his father faced criminal charges for the assault and the sabotage. Jiang Lai, the obsessive childhood friend, was exposed for her own schemes, including paying Julian to fake the DNA test. Her reputation in the capital was ruined. Life, after so much chaos, began to settle into a new, unfamiliar rhythm. A rhythm of family. So, we need to discuss the wedding, Eleanor announced one afternoon, sitting across from Liam's mother. Isabel Sterling, who had flown in from the capital the moment she heard the news. It must be held here, in Jiang City, Eleanor declared. Nonsense, Isabel retorted. Let's have it in the capital. Are you trying to make my son marry into your family? Though I wholeheartedly agree, Liam whispered to Arya, this son can be given up. His mother overheard. I heard that. Seeing you alive and well, I'm pulling out the 7 wolves, she threatened, referring to a famous brand of men's belts in China, often used humorously as a tool for discipline. The two mothers bickered playfully, their initial rivalry melting into a shared, fierce love for their children and grandchild. Seems like it'll be a chaotic routine from now on, Liam murmured to Arya, wrapping an arm around her. Arya looked at her new, improbable, beautiful family. Her powerful, meddling mother. Her glamorous, equally meddling mother-in-law. Her brilliant, loving partner, who was both the stranger who had saved her disastrous birthday and the man she had loved and lost without ever knowing it. And their son, Leo, the little boy who had orchestrated the entire reunion with a single, clever word. I think, she said, leaning her head on Liam's shoulder, a true, radiant smile on her face, I can live with that.